Welcome to Sassy Scoop TV's Deep Dive. Hi, I'm Alex. I'll be your guide to the symbolism and rich history woven into Dante's The Divine Comedy.
And I'm Casey.
All right, so...
I'm here to keep things fresh and fun while we explore all the stories and characters.
Okay, so imagine this. It's around Easter 1300, and Dante, our main character, finds himself lost.
Oh, no.
In a dark forest. But not just any forest, though. This one's like thick with symbolism, representing the kind of spiritual confusion we all face at some point in our lives.
It's like he's waking up to the fact that he's been sleepwalking through life, you know?
Right.
He needs a serious course correction.
Exactly. And that's where Virgil comes in, the Roman poet, representing human reason and the wisdom of the classics. He's going to be Dante's guide through hell.
Wow.
And purgatory.
Virgil is such a fascinating choice, don't you think? I mean, Dante could have picked anyone to guide him through the afterlife, but he goes with this figure who embodies logic and learning. It's like he's saying that we need to use our minds to understand the nature of sin and the path to redemption.
I totally agree. But there's another guide too, right? Beatrice, who represents divine love and revelation. She'll eventually lead Dante through heaven. It's almost like Dante is showing us we need both our heads and our hearts, reason and faith, to truly understand the universe and our place in it.
It's such a beautiful, layered concept, and it sets the stage for this epic journey through the afterlife.
Which, by the way, is not just some spooky sightseeing tour. This journey is an allegory, a way for Dante to critique the politics and social issues of 14th century Italy, but also comment on human nature itself.
Right. It's like he's holding up a mirror to society, showing us the consequences of our choices, both individually and collectively.
So are you ready to dive into the first realm, the infamous Inferno?
Let's do it. But I have to warn you, it's not for the faint of heart. Dante doesn't sugarcoat anything. He throws us right into the fiery depths of hell, where the punishments are as creative as they are terrifying.
And speaking of punishments, one of the most striking things about the Inferno is how tailored each one is to this sin. It's like a cosmic justice system where the punishment perfectly reflects the crime.
Exactly. And Dante doesn't just tell us about these punishments, he makes us experience them with him. We're right there with him, feeling the heat, smelling the sulfur, hearing the screams of the damned. It's visceral, it's unforgettable, and it makes you think twice about your own actions, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's like a cautionary tale reminding us that our choices have consequences, even beyond this earthly life.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Dante doesn't just populate hell with generic sinners. He fills it with figures from history, mythology, even people he knew personally.
Ooh, well, give us some examples.
Well, there's Paolo and Francesca, this couple condemned for their adulterous love. Dante portrays their story with such empathy that you almost forget they're in hell.
Yeah.
It makes you question the nature of sin, the power of passion, and the complexities of human relationships.
That's so Dante. He's always making us think, challenging our assumptions. And didn't he also put Ulysses, the Greek hero, in hell? What was that all about?
Right, but not for his cunning or bravery. Ulysses is punished for his insatiable curiosity, for pushing the boundaries of human knowledge too far. It's almost as if Dante is saying, hey, there are limits to what we should seek to know.
What a fascinating and provocative take on a classic hero. It's like Dante is questioning the very nature of ambition and the pursuit of knowledge. Is it always a good thing? Can it actually lead us astray? I mean, these are questions we're still grappling with today, right?
Exactly. And that's what makes Dante so relevant, so timeless. He's tapping into these fundamental human dilemmas that transcend any particular era.
So, as you're reading, I want you to really imagine yourself walking alongside Dante through this nightmarish landscape.
Ooh.
What would it feel like to confront these figures, to hear their stories, to witness their suffering? What would you learn from them? And most importantly, what would you learn about yourself? Because that's what the Inferno is ultimately about, right? It's a mirror reflecting our own capacity for darkness, our own flaws and temptations, but it's also a reminder that even in the darkest depths, there's always a glimmer of hope, a chance for redemption.
And that glimmer leads us right to the next realm, Purgatory. But before we climb that mountain of purification, let's take a moment to digest what we've experienced in hell. What stands out to you? What makes you squirm? What makes you think? Because that's the power of Dante, right? He doesn't just tell us a story, he makes us feel it, question it, and ultimately apply it to our own lives.
And on that note, we'll be right back after a short break.
Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around. Let's take a quick moment to explore some fascinating trivia about the Divine Comedy. Did you know that Dante's epic poem was originally written in Tuscan Italian, a dialect that later became the standard Italian language because of its immense influence? It's amazing how literature can shape a language, right? While you're here, don't forget to check out our other videos on book reviews, AI, finance tips, and historic wars, all available in our curated playlists linked in the description below. If you're enjoying this podcast, we'd love your support. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel Sassy Scoop TV, and hit that bell icon to stay updated. Your encouragement means the world to us and keeps us motivated to bring you more content. All right, let's dive back into Dante's epic journey through hell, purgatory, and paradise in the Divine Comedy. Stay tuned.
You know, it's fascinating how Dante transitions from the Inferno to Purgatorio. It's not just a change in scenery, it's a shift in energy.
Totally. We go from that oppressive, suffocating atmosphere of hell to this almost like hopeful vibe. It's like a breath of fresh air, literally.
Exactly, and that's reflected in the landscape itself. Instead of fire and brimstone, we have this towering mountain, like a symbol of spiritual ascent.
But don't let the scenery fool you. Purgatorio is no walk in the park. The souls here are actively working to purge their sins, to purify themselves for heaven. It's like a spiritual boot camp.
Right, and each level of the mountain represents a different vice being purged. Pride, envy, wrath, sloth, you name it. It's like Dante is laying out a map for self-improvement, you know?
Yeah.
Showing us how to confront our own flaws and work towards becoming better versions of ourselves.
So instead of eternal damnation, we have this idea of progress, of second chances. It's almost inspiring, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And what's so cool is that the souls in purgatory aren't just passively enduring their punishments. They're actively choosing to be there, embracing the pain as a necessary step towards their ultimate goal, union with God.
It's like they understand that true freedom comes from acknowledging our flaws and actively working to overcome them.
And here's something else I find fascinating. The idea of community in Purgatorio.
Oh, yeah.
The souls are all helping each other, praying for each other, offering support and encouragement along the way.
It's like they're all in this together, recognizing that they need each other to succeed on this journey. Yeah. There's a real sense of camaraderie, wouldn't you say?
Totally. It's a powerful reminder that we're not alone in our struggles, that we all need a little help sometimes to climb our own personal mountains.
And as Dante climbs higher and higher, the landscape becomes more beautiful, the air lighter, the souls more radiant. It's like a visual representation of their spiritual progress.
It's like they're shedding their earthly burdens with each step, becoming lighter and brighter as they approach heaven.
And then we finally reach the pinnacle of Dante's journey, Paradiso.
Can you imagine what it must have felt like for him to finally reach this realm of pure light, love, and harmony after the darkness and suffering of hell and the arduous climb of purgatory?
I bet it was mind-blowing. But Paradiso isn't just a place of passive bliss, right? Dante is still learning, still growing, still grappling with complex theological concepts.
Exactly. It's like his education is ongoing. Even in heaven, he's engaging in these deep philosophical discussions with saints and angels, expanding his understanding of God, the universe, and the meaning of existence.
It's like he's finally graduated from spiritual boot camp and is now enrolled in a cosmic university.
Huh. I love that analogy. And throughout his journey through paradise, Dante is overwhelmed by the beauty and harmony of it all. The souls here are radiant, singing hymns of praise to God, moving in perfect synchronicity.
That's like a symphony of divine love.
Exactly. And the imagery is just breathtaking. Dante uses light as a metaphor for spiritual enlightenment, and the higher he ascends, the more intense and radiant the light becomes.
It's like he's getting closer and closer to the source of all light, to the very essence of God.
And when he finally reaches the Empyrean, the highest heaven where God resides, he's completely overwhelmed by a light so brilliant that it's beyond human comprehension.
It's like a glimpse of the ultimate truth, the culmination of his entire journey. It's a moment of pure awe and wonder.
And it's a reminder that even though we can't fully grasp the mysteries of God and the universe, we can still experience glimpses of the divine, moments of transcendence that connect us to something greater than ourselves.
And that connection, that sense of belonging to something larger than ourselves, is something we all crave, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's what drives us to seek meaning and purpose in our lives. It's what fuels our spiritual journeys.
And while our journeys may not be as dramatic or as epic as Dante's, we can still learn from his experiences, from his struggles and triumphs.
Yeah.
We can find inspiration in his unwavering faith, his thirst for knowledge, and his commitment to self-improvement.
And we can remember that even in the darkest of times, even when we're lost and confused, there's always hope. There's always a light to guide us, a path to lead us back to our true selves.
Now, as we're reflecting on Dante's journey, I can't help but think about the impact the Divine Comedy has had on art, literature, and culture over the centuries. It's been translated into countless languages, inspired countless works of art, and continues to be studied and debated by scholars and students alike.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, how many other poems from the 14th century can you say that about?
Right. There's a reason this work has stood the test of time. It's not just a story, it's a mirror reflecting the human condition, exploring themes that are as relevant today as they were centuries ago. Love, loss, sin, redemption, the search for meaning and purpose.
And it does it all with such vivid imagery, such profound insight, such raw emotion. It's a work that stays with you long after you've finished reading it.
It makes you think, it makes you feel, and it makes you question everything you thought you knew about life, death, and the universe.
And that, I think, is the true mark of a masterpiece.
Now, we can't talk about the Divine Comedy without acknowledging that it can be a challenging read for modern audiences. It's dense, it's complex, it's full of historical and theological references that might seem obscure to us today.
But I actually think those challenges are part of what makes it so rewarding. It's a work that demands your attention, your effort, your willingness to step outside your comfort zone.
And if you're willing to put in the work, the rewards are immense. You'll gain a deeper understanding of history, theology, literature, and most importantly, yourself.
Because at its core, the Divine Comedy is a journey of self-discovery. It's about confronting our flaws, embracing our strengths, and ultimately finding our way back to the light.
So as you delve into the Divine Comedy, approach it with an open mind, a curious spirit, and a willingness to be challenged and transformed.
It's a journey worth taking, I promise you.
And remember, you don't have to go it alone. There are countless resources available to help you navigate the poem's complexities, from commentaries and study guides to online forums and discussion groups.
And don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions or want to share your insights. We're always happy to geek out about Dante.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe we'll even inspire you to embark on your own creative journey.
Because as Dante shows us, the power of storytelling is timeless, and it has the ability to transform not only ourselves, but the world around us.
Well said. Now, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore some of the key themes and takeaways from the Divine Comedy, let's take a moment to pause and reflect.
Yeah, what images or scenes from Dante's journey have stuck with you? What emotions has this exploration evoked?
And most importantly, what personal connections have you made to this epic tale?
Because ultimately, that's what makes the Divine Comedy so powerful. It's not just a story from the past, it's a mirror reflecting our own ongoing journeys, our own struggles and aspirations.
It's a reminder that we're all on a quest for meaning, for purpose, for connection with something greater than ourselves.
And that quest, my friend, is one worth pursuing with all our hearts and minds.
You know, as we wrap up our deep dive into Dante's Divine Comedy, I keep coming back to this one question. What can we, in the 21st century, actually take away from this epic poem written over 700 years ago?
That's a great question, because it would be easy to just dismiss it, right? As like a historical artifact, a fascinating but ultimately irrelevant relic from a bygone era.
Right. But the thing is, the Divine Comedy isn't just a museum piece. It's a living, breathing work of art that continues to speak to us across the centuries.
It does, and I think for me, one of the biggest takeaways is this idea of accountability, you know?
Yeah.
Dante's journey through the afterlife is a stark reminder that our choices have consequences, that we can't just skate through life without thinking about the impact of our actions.
Yeah. It's like he's saying, hey, every decision you make, every word you speak, every deed you do, it all matters.
Yeah.
It all adds up to something.
Exactly, and that sense of responsibility, of being answerable for our choices, is something we could all use a little more of these days, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up in the moment, to act impulsively, to prioritize our own desires above the needs of others. But the Divine Comedy reminds us that there's a bigger picture, a cosmic balance sheet, if you will.
Ooh, I love that.
Right.
Cosmic balance sheet. That makes you really consider the weight of your choices, doesn't it?
It does. And then there's this theme of redemption. The idea that no matter how far we've strayed, no matter how many mistakes we've made, we can always turn back, seek forgiveness, find our way back to the light.
That's such a powerful and hopeful message. It reminds us that it's never too late to change, to make amends, to start over.
Right. And that even in the darkest of times, even when we feel lost and alone, there's always the possibility of transformation.
And speaking of transformation, one thing that really struck me about Dante's journey is this constant evolution. He's not just passively observing the afterlife, he's actively learning, growing, and questioning his own beliefs every step of the way.
He starts off as this kind of lost soul, stumbling through the dark woods, but by the time he reaches paradise, he's become a wiser, more compassionate, and more enlightened being.
It's a beautiful arc, isn't it? And it reminds us that life is a journey, not a destination. It's about embracing the process of growth, the constant striving to become better versions of ourselves.
And that process of growth, of self-discovery, is something we can all relate to, whether we're religious or not. We all have our own inner journeys to make, our own demons to confront, our own mountains to climb.
Exactly. And just like Dante, we need guides along the way. Mentors, friends, loved ones who can offer support, wisdom, and a little tough love when we need it.
And we also need to be open to learning from those who are different from us, those who challenge our assumptions and make us see the world from a new perspective.
Yeah, because that's how we grow, right?
Right.
By stepping outside our comfort zones, by engaging with different ideas and perspectives, by being willing to question everything we thought we knew.
And the Divine Comedy is a perfect example of a work that pushes us to think differently, to grapple with complex issues, and to expand our understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
It's a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge is a lifelong endeavor, and that true wisdom comes not from having all the answers, but from asking the right questions.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to encourage our listeners to keep those questions coming. Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep searching for meaning and purpose in your lives.
Because the journey is just as important as the destination, and the more we learn, the more we grow, the richer and more fulfilling our lives become.
And who knows? Maybe someday we'll all have our own stories to tell, our own epic journeys to share with the world.
Until then, let's keep Dante's legacy alive by embracing his spirit of curiosity, compassion, and that relentless pursuit of truth.
Well said. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Dante's Divine Comedy. We hope you've enjoyed the journey and that it's inspired you to embark on your own adventures in learning, growth, and self-discovery.
Happy reading and happy adventuring.